Alright guys, welcome back to a new video. In this video I'll be going over all the enchants and what enchant you should be maxing out first and what enchants you should avoid. First off, we will be starting off with the token enchants, of course. Now these are the main enchants that every new endgame and mid-game player are going to use. A lot of these are really good and easy to max out. For example, we'll go with Keyfinder. Keyfinder is really easy to max out. It is not too expensive, and it is really good. You can gain a lot of keys, grind keys. Game has it. It's a way to find tokens to upgrade other token enchants, and you want to max this as soon as possible. If you do not have it maxed, as you can see, the activation chance is only 100%. If you did not max it, it would be 50, somewhere like that. When you first start off, maybe 10%. Really depends. The next enchant is Bolt. Bolt just gives you speed. If you have a rank and you get a pickaxe from that rank, you'll probably already have Bolt maxed out, but if not, you can max it out. It's not needed, but earlier ranks you should max it out. And you'll max it out later in the game anyways, so you know. Then Jackhammer. Jackhammer. This is one of the enchants every new player should be getting. This enchant is one of the best. As you can see, I almost haven't maxed. My gang just upgraded a few upgrades. Let me show off Jackhammer. This is Jackhammer. It destroys a whole layer. Every time it destroys a layer, it gives you the tokens from that layer and the rank up percent, which is really good for new players and experienced players. You get a lot of tokens from it and a lot of rank percentage, so you want to be maxing it out, and it isn't that expensive either. Alright, the next token enchant is Token Merchant. This upgrade is pretty good for new and mid-game players. When it activates, it gives around 1 trillion tokens when it's maxed. Not maxed, it'll give lower than 1 trillion. But you'll want to max this out a bit early game, or don't max it out at all. Token Merchant's pretty good with Jackhammer. The next, you got Keyfinder. We talked about this in the beginning. Helps you find keys. It's cheap, it's easy to get, easy to max out. Treasure Finder. Treasure Finder is a bit weird. It says it gives you keys, but it doesn't really give you keys. It gives you a lot of different loot. It can give you caches, vaults, and keys. But normally you get some of the caches, which is the obsidian looking things that you place down and a hopper drops down. But that's what it normally gives. It can give vaults, for example a silver or a bronze vault. I haven't seen a gold. Then we got keys from it. It can give all the keys, but half the time it's not keys, and it's only a 1 in, I want to say 10,000 chance. Then XP Finder. You really only need this mid-game and early game. It's to unlock all the other enchants. You need to level up your pickaxe to unlock all these enchants. But for XP Finder, you'll want it mid-game-ish, end game to get all the enchants. But early game, you don't really need this. I avoided it. Nothing changed. I'm still here. Then we got Meteor Shower. Meteor Shower is still really good. I still see a notice at the very late game with all the other enchants. It gives tokens. It's not that hard to max. Only 100 levels. And it's pretty good when it happens. It can give a few, like, I want to say around 50 trillion, which isn't bad. But if it procs multiple times, it can give more, of course. Then we got Lucky. Lucky is one of my favorites, saying it can give pet candies, attachment rerolls, booster vouchers. It can give a bunch of different stuff. It can give keys. It can give the caches, the vaults. It could give all of those. It could give almost any item that you would need, except for pet boxes, attachment. I think it does give attachment boxes and crystal boxes, which is pretty good. The higher you level it, the higher the chance and the better rewards you get from it. Lucky, it can also give tokens, which it isn't a huge amount. Then we got Vein Miner. Vein Miner, I didn't max it out until mid-game, which I regret, because it was pretty expensive. for mid game and early game. But it is pretty good. It can get in the way. As you can see, this big line through my mine, that is vein miner. It goes from forward, front, side to side, and it goes all the way down to the mine. So as you can see, and it gives you all the tokens that it mines, which isn't too much, but it can get in the way when you are mining in a straight line. It can get in the way. Alright, that's vein miner. It gives tokens. Nothing really too good. I would say max it out mid game to end game. If you can, max it out early game, because it always helps with tokens and rank up, of course. Then we got energy. Energy is for mid game players. Early game I wouldn't recommend. It costs a lot of tokens to max out. And what energy does is you have your player miner. It has a small chance to recharge it by 3 times, which I haven't noticed really. Even though it's procced over 16,000 times, I don't really use my player mine in the end game. It just messes up with its jackhammer and stuff. So you don't want it early game. It's too expensive. You can focus on jackhammer with all the tokens that you could spend on energy, but don't max it out early. Gem Finder. Gem Finder is really good for the gem shop and gem enchants. Early game, you'll want to focus on the enchants. Mid to late game, gem shop and enchants. Late game is gem shop mainly with the weeklies. But Gem Finder, early game, not really needed. You just really want to get to rebirths first, which is rank 1000, which takes rank up and tokens, not really gems. But if you did want to get the gem enchants, I would say mid game is best. Maybe late to early game, like, you know, in the early game, close to the start of mid game, around there. You'll want to get gems, of course, for the enchants. Orb Finder. Orb Finder, whenever you unlock it on your pickaxe, get it. It's expensive, I know, but it's worth it. Or the things you can do with orbs is slash armor. And armor helps a lot. You got gem armor. There's 10 levels to each armor. Every level it gives a percentage multi, but the first one will be 1.1, I think. 1.05 for this one, I think. But as you can see, there's a bunch of armor. There's key armor, pickaxe XP, gem, and token armor. The one that I would go for is token armor. Token armor is the best for early game. You need tokens to level up your token enchants, and when you level those up, you get more tokens, and you get more rank up. So then gem armor is for around the rebirth area where you need the gem enchants to keep progressing, but we'll get into that. Key armor is really good if you're just on a grind for items and you want to sell those items for tokens, or you need an item. I would say use that. It gives double the keys at max level. Then pickaxe XP, I've never really used this, I just upgraded it to get ultimate armor. We'll talk about ultimate armor in a second, but pickaxe XP is for the level to unlock more enchants. If you're early game and you somehow have a lot of orbs, I would say leave this for last. Then ultimate armor, the best armor in the game. As you can see, all the boosts under the information. It gives almost all the boosts that all the armors give, except for the rank XP boost, and as you can see, there's no key boost. Key boost would be a bit too OP, so they changed it for 1.2 rank XP boost, which is really OP, to be honest, but this is for late game. It costs 10,000 orbs, which takes a few days, unless you get really lucky with the proc chance. And that's token is early game, mid, late to mid, or even early if you really need it. Then late game. Late game, and that's really it for orbs. Let's move on to Napalm Strike. I have no clue. I don't know how to pronounce this. Unleash a firestorm on the mine. It's like it rains down arrows in one place, which can make a giant hole that only lasts about 10 layers. And that giant hole can get in the way a lot, which sucks. Shit. What's it called? Yeah, so it gives tokens when it drops down the flaming arrows. Those flaming arrows can get in the way. The tokens are not that much unless you got it maxed. It costs a lot to max it. Sorry, I got distracted during this enchant. So that's the brief one. Cluster bomb. I didn't really upgrade it till late game. I would say upgrade it mid game though. It gives a lot of tokens and it blows up a big chunk of your mine, which is good. Gives all the tokens for that. This I would say upgrade late game or mid game. Gem Merchant. Gem Merchant is like Gem Finder but better. It has a chance to multiply the gems from Gem Finder, and if you upgrade it to max, it has a 15% proc chance, which is really good. That means 15% chance to multiply the gems from that, and it gives a lot of gems. They just buffed the gem amount, and I think they buffed it to like 13 times. That seems wrong, but that's what was in the changelog, which is crazy. Then we got Fuel Finder. This one I would leave alone. Never upgrade this unless you wanna have the maxed out pickaxe. But as you can see, I keep it inactive for a reason. It gives you fuel for the AFK miner. The AFK miner is shit. Don't use the AFK miner. Unless you're AFKing for keys, but use the AFK miner for that. And if you need fuel, turn this on, but you can just buy fuel with tokens, and it's not expensive. This is like 5Q. Meads PayPal. Meads PayPal is pretty mid-game to late-game. I think a lot of newer players would go for this, because it gives a chance to, buy stuff for free in the shop. But what players don't realize, it's only 10 cents every time it procs, and it's really rare. It's easier to get coupons out of crates at that point, but Meads PayPal, mid-game to late game, it gives coupons, which is pretty nice. It's a good way to get free-to-play items, which is why I got a max, of course. Zeus is really good. It spawns a Zeus character above your mine, and he just sends out lightning bolts, like, to the bottom of your mine. It's crazy. Or, like, not to the bottom, but a few layers down. Zeus is really good. It gives a lot of tokens. I would say it's mid-game to late game. It's, like, in the middle, Guardian Beam's not that good. It's only good when Mortar procs with it. Without it, it doesn't really give that much tokens. It just gets in the way of your mine. It mines one layer below you, and that's really it. And it does that in a few lines. Quiver. Okay, this one is a bit weird in my opinion, because people say get it early game, but you can't get it early game. I say get it mid game. Mid game should be the latest you get it, unless you don't have enough tokens. Quiver is just, it rains down arrows all over the mine. It doesn't break the layer. It just gives the tokens worth. And that is a lot of tokens. It gives a lot of tokens. When it happens with Mortar, when Mortar procs with Quiver, it is way better, because Mortar gives a multiplier and Quiver's already really good without it. So I would say get it mid-game. Maybe late game-ish. Prophet is late game. You want to get this after a few rebirths, maybe an Ascension. It's really good. It rains down TNT onto the mine, like all over the mine. Then it goes down to a straight line, and until the end of the mine, the bottom of the mine, it gives all the tokens from what it mined, which is a shit ton. And it gives a good rank up percentage too. I can't be swearing, my bad. Alright, Nuke. Nuke is really good. It destroys a shit ton of blocks. It destroys the whole mine, basically. And when it does that, it resets your mine. It gives you about where I'm at with Ascension. Let's say I'm Ascension 5. I get about 10% of my rank up. 10% of it, which is a lot. Jackhammer gives like 1%, maybe 0.50%, and that's every time it activates, so it's really good. Lower ranks probably get like 50%, which is crazy. So I would say get this late game, get this late game. These pair together well. Then Alien Strike. Alien Strike costs 200 Q to max, which is a crazy amount. And I just maxed it a few days ago, so I would say leave it for endgame. It like strikes down your whole mine, destroys the whole mine, and gives you a good amount of tokens for it, and it resets your mine. So it's not bad. It's like an event. It destroys the whole mine, gives you tokens, you don't gotta do anything, then it resets it. Alright, Dragon Ball. I don't really understand this one, to be honest. It's like, it happens when Mortar happens, that's really it. So I don't really upgrade it. I don't really like this one. I don't understand it, so I'm just gonna skip it. I would say, don't really get it, unless, tell me in the comments. Because that one's a bit confusing to me. Overflow activates free random unlocked enchants. So it could be any of these enchants. I don't know if it can be, let's say, I don't know if it can be rebirth enchants or gem enchants, but if it activates the right enchants, for example, let's say Prophet, Nuke, and Alien Strike. Maybe not Alien Strike, but Mead's PayPal. You get a coupon, you get a lot of tokens, and rank up, which isn't bad. So I would say get that late game. These are going to be late game, of course. Greaser, water will shoot up through the mine. So let's say you're at the bottom, water will just shoot up all the way and break all the blocks in its way, which is pretty good. It gives a good amount of tokens. And that's really it for the token enchant. So let's move on to the gem enchants. Gem enchants, there's not a lot of them, but most of them are really good. For example, Lottery is super OP for mid game and early game. It doesn't even cost that much gems, so when you get gems, Lottery should be the first thing you buy. It is OP, it can give up to 30 trillion tokens, a few different items. It's crazy. For mid game, of course. Late game, you don't really use it unless with the items. Black Hole is really only good with Mortar, but you're gonna have to max it to upgrade the Mortar. Black Hole, it sucks out blocks from the mine, like random different blocks, and gives you tokens for them, which isn't bad, but there's better enchants. Shard Collector, this one's for the gang. What's it called? It's a gang enchant. You need shards to upgrade gang enchants, and that's really it. You use shards to upgrade gang enchants. If you're not in a gang, you're not planning on joining one, don't upgrade it. It's worthless to you. Okay, Robot Finder. Robot Finder is pretty good in the sense that you get good robots, and you get a lot of them. But if you don't have 100 million gems, don't waste it on Robot Finder. Just buy robots from someone, or try getting them from crates. Frozen Gorge, one of the best gem enchants in the game. Every time it procs, it gives about 100 million, maybe a bit more for late game. Early game, probably a few 20 million, 30 million, which is not bad. I would say upgrade this one if you want gems. Yeah, it doesn't change the activation chance when you upgrade it. It only changes the amount. It changes the amount of gems you get from it. Then we got Whisper. This is shit. Complete dog shit. Never get this enchant ever, man. It spawns a miniature zombie, a baby zombie, full diamond, just mines a few blocks and disappears. It's the worst. Meteorite. This is a pretty good enchant. I don't really upgrade it though. It drops tokens and gems, so it probably drops like a massive meteor, and then it explodes a few blocks, and you get the what's it called? The profit from those blocks. Dragon's Eye has the ability to virtually, yeah, so it could double the blocks mined from Jackhammer. So it just gives you blocks, it doesn't give you tokens or gems. So I would say leave that for endgame, not really needed. Same as Meteor, never get this, don't get it early endgame, get this mid-game, it's pretty good. Alright, moving on to mid-game / late game enchants, aka the rebirth enchants. These are the enchants people struggle with, struggle with figuring out which one's the best, so I'm here to help. Juggernaut, it's okay. It's these potions here, they're not the best. They only last 5 minutes, you can't stack them. So you gotta be really active to use those. Meteor is, I would say, almost one of the best. There's one enchant that's better than Meteor. Meteor spawns a giant meteor. There's a lot of Meteor enchants. But this one drops a shit ton of tokens. Like, there's a reason why it's a rebirth enchant. But it drops so many tokens. Wild Wither is one of the best, in my opinion. It procs a lot, even though the chance is really low. It procs mainly with Mortar, but it gives a lot of tokens. I'm gonna actually get the max levels I can on it, because it's so good. Then, Berserker's Fury. It just, once activated, it will multiply tokens and gems gained, so it gives you a little note at the bottom saying this is activated for 13 seconds, something like that, and you get 1.2 tokens, which is actually really good if you get it maxed out, but it does cost a lot to max it, and it only lasts about 10 seconds, which the Wither lasts about a bit more, and gives a bit more, unless you're very active and you can mine a lot of blocks. So, yeah, that's really all the enchants, guys. This did take about 30 minutes to record. I'm gonna edit it down for you guys, and I hope you enjoy. If you want to see more Akuma tutorials, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down your username, because why not? You might get something. I don't know yet. I might give away a few tokens, but make sure you comment down your username. Check out my channel. You know, there might be more Akuma content. This is the first video. I hope it does well. And if you guys did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take it easy, guys. I love you all.